You may know that it is really important for us to celebrate our wins along our fitness journey, along our business journey, along our entire life, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're good at it or necessarily that we want to do that. And chances are, if you clicked on this episode, you're wanting to learn how to celebrate your wins and not get too caught up in perfectionism to where you're constantly in this go, 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 chase the next goal, chase the next thing, and never living in the present. Or maybe you would actually want to be proud of the efforts that you're putting in instead of constantly putting yourself down and playing small. And these are all things that I've experienced and wanted to share about today because I was talking with a past client and this is one of the things that she would like to learn more about. So today we're going to be talking about celebrating your wins, overcoming perfectionism, and playing small. Before we get into the episode, hello and welcome. My name is Megan Timpson. I am a personal trainer and nutrition coach, and I am the host of the 1% Healthier podcast. This podcast is all about helping you create a healthy, sustainable lifestyle, to eat healthy without diets, and to step into the power and potential that you know that you have. So I broke this episode into 3 different sections, talking about 1, why we should celebrate our wins, 2, why we don't celebrate our wins, how we overcome perfectionism and playing small, and 3, how you can celebrate your wins, and focusing on that sense of abundance. And I'm going to share some quotes and stories with you that I think are really powerful and very relevant. So in the first area, this first topic, why should we celebrate our wins? The first thing that I thought of when thinking about celebrating our wins is obviously that we want to create momentum. You may know, obviously, with 1% Healthier, how much I love building momentum, how much I appreciate the idea of stacking days and getting 1% better, and to focus on the things that we can control and starting with what we have and starting today. Like if we want to do something with our lives, if we want to get into running, for example, we do not need to wait until we go buy a new pair of running shoes. We do not need to wait until we get a fancy watch. We don't have to wait until the next day. We could just lace up the shoes that we do have and just go for a jog and just see how that feels, right? It's starting where you are, starting with what you have, and going and improving from there. And one of the things about pursuing progress is sometimes we are so quick to wanting this big win, but we delay it because it's a lot of work. And then what that does is it creates this cycle and this loop of, oh, I want to do something, but I'm waiting and waiting and waiting until I do something really, really big to get that done. But what that does is it always leaves a task undone, and when there is a task undone, we feel bad about it. That creates shame. With more shame, we have less capacity to do the things that we want to do, and then that spiral keeps going. We want to do it, but we're putting it off, we're procrastinating, we're being caught up in perfectionist cycles, and then we have more shame and less capacity, more shame, less capacity, the task is still undone, and so on and so forth. So obviously, by celebrating our wins and starting small, you are able to create that positive momentum to what you want to do. Starting small might feel like a cliche kind of phrase, but there is so much power and neuroscience and evidence behind why that works and why that is so important. So as you are wanting to do big things in your life, especially if you are very ambitious or you have a business or you're working towards making something of yourself, it can be really easy to push off celebrating like how far you've come because you're like constantly go, go, go on to the next, when we just want to be so much better than we currently are that we forget to live in the present and be in the moment. And so when we understand that if we can just celebrate moments and be in the present, that will help us build momentum and continue to grow and grow and grow. I want to share with you something that I heard on Instagram where it was this reel about somebody asking, how can you make flowers last forever? We've heard that you can do this, you can put in a Sprite, you can put in sugar into the water, like how do we make them last forever? And the guy, I think his name is Kristen, he's like, let me hold your hand when I say this. And he said, flowers are not supposed to last. Listen, their job is to help you stay in the present. They grow, they blossom, they thrive, and then they're gone. What flowers do is they help you to stop and be present, because if you don't, you're going to blink and then they're gone. And I think that it is so relevant when we think about metaphors for life or we think about our own business. If we are just constantly go, 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 we never stop and celebrate how far we've come, then it makes so much sense that, oh, we're going to miss the beauty of the entire journey. We're going to be wishing away everything that has made us who we are. So when you think about that, when you think about flowers, when you think about celebrating your wins, when you think about, oh, like it's finally blossomed and we have this beautiful flower, take some time to just appreciate that you have this flower. It might not be the most perfect flower. It might not be everything that you want it to be yet, but it's here. Another phrase I want to share with you if you feel like you can't celebrate your wins just yet is this idea of shifting I can't to maybe, and that maybe opens the door for magic. A newly positive attitude is the beginning of self-trust, and that is one of the biggest things that we're trying to build here, right, is this evidence that we are who we say we are, that we can do what we want to do, that we are meant for more, that we are built to do great things with our lives. And if you can shift from I can't celebrate my wins to maybe I can do this, maybe I can pause and celebrate here, you're opening the door for magic. So that is just something I want you to think about. Moving into the second section of this podcast is why we don't celebrate our wins and how we can overcome perfectionism and playing small. I want you to think about a win that you've wanted to tell somebody, or when somebody asked you about your day and you wanted to tell them something but you hesitated. Why do we downplay our wins? Why do we play small? Why do we wait for perfection when we could move forward with what we have now? Maybe you can think about times in your life where you didn't share your wins or you didn't celebrate something. What did that look like for you and why? Something that I thought about is how praising makes us sometimes feel that we are shrinking other people, and we might be afraid that that's putting a target on our back, that, oh, like if we are saying that we are doing well or we did this thing and we're proud of our effort, we're proud of the meal that we made, we're proud of the race that we ran, we're proud of the house that we got, whatever it is, we might feel like, oh, that makes me othered, that makes me different, that makes me like a target for other people. Whatever it might be, it's a good opportunity for you to pause and reflect and ask yourself, why am I afraid of sharing my wins and why am I constantly putting myself down? It's really frustrating to be around people that constantly put themselves down, including yourself. And so if we can nip this in the bud for ourselves and ask ourselves, why are we so afraid of being seen? Why are we so afraid of being unique? Why are we so afraid of being who God made us to be? And if we can get really clear on that, like what we are really afraid of, if you peel back the layers, then it gives you that little shift of from I can't celebrate my wins to maybe I can celebrate my wins, or I can't do that thing, or maybe I can do that thing. Again, you're opening that door for magic. If you can just celebrate something small, you're building momentum, you're building magic. So I think that is really, really beautiful. Another thing that I thought of is I remember hearing somebody say that if you are the CEO of your life, if you are the CEO of your business, you have to be loud about your success. Nobody else can be loud for you. Nobody else can celebrate your wins for you. Yes, we have friends and we have partners and we have people in our lives that can be a witness to our success, but nobody is living our lives. We're the only ones that are living our lives. And so how can we show ourselves that we appreciate the life that we're living, if that makes sense? I think that is something that's so important to think about, and also to know that we are all a work in progress. Nobody is perfect, and that's simple to say, but I think we get really caught up in the idea that everybody has it figured out. Everybody is on their way. Everybody is super successful, and I'm so far behind. But I really want you guys to leave this episode thinking about how far you've come. Think about it. Like over this past year alone, how much you have grown, how much you've changed, how much you've evolved, how much your mind has changed, your outlook on different things, how much kinder you've become, how much more empathetic you've become, how much more ambitious you've become. Like, you know what you're capable of. You know what you've done, and you want to now channel that into something. You've come so far. You've moved, you've changed cities, you've done different careers, you've had different experiences, you've traveled to different places. It'd be a real shame if you never stopped to celebrate and recognize all that you've done and all that you've accomplished. And I'm saying this to you, but I'm also saying this to myself. Like, we have come so far. And I really want to challenge you not to minimize yourself. Whether that is in a situation where you just finished a race and the first thing that you want to talk about is the worst parts of your race, how bad you felt, how you could have run faster, how you could have done this better. If that is your first instinct, I really want you to pause. Pause in those moments. Think about something that you are proud of. Like, actually, like you just ran a High Rocks race. Let's be proud that you did that and think about something great. Think about something that you're proud of in that race. Because I know it is really hard for me to hear other people just talk about the negative parts of the race. Like, to be so for real. Like, let's be positive. Let's put good energy out there. Let's spread good energy and not bring ourselves down and not bring other people down. Of course, we could have probably run faster. Of course, we probably could have done it better. But if you could just have a little bit of grace and a little bit of, let me put myself in the shoes of my past self who was running from station to station. It was really hard in the moment, okay? Like, of course, we probably could have done better, but it's not going to serve you just to think about all the things that went wrong. Same thing if, like, you made yourself a meal or you made somebody else a meal, and the first thing that you want to say is, oh, I should have made this better. I'm sorry if this is not that great, or I'm sorry that if it doesn't have enough flavor, or if it's too salty. The list could go on about all the things, like, you do something and then you are so quick to tear it down. Let it just be. Let it just be. Maybe say something good about it. If it's not perfect, it's not perfect. Okay. Like, you're going to make so many other meals. You're going to have so many other opportunities. We don't have to make it mean so much. Or another thing is, like, we love to travel. We love to explore new places, or we love to host people. It can be really easy, I know for me, to think about, like, the worst parts of the trip. Like, oh, I should have planned a better itinerary. We should have done this activity. Oh, I hope that everybody had fun. Like, worrying about all the things that I could worry about, or I could just accept the fact that everybody came and had a good time. And it might not have been perfect. We could have done other things, but I'm gonna celebrate the fact that I got people together and that we had a good time. Like, it wasn't as good as last year, or maybe it was different than last year. Regardless, we had a good time, and I'm gonna celebrate that, and I'm gonna enjoy that, and I'm gonna relish the moment. And I don't need to play small and think that, oh, I'm not doing good enough, or I'm not being a good enough hostess. Like, there's always, we know this, there's always gonna be room for growth. But this episode specifically is to help you see your growth, to help you celebrate your growth, to help you enjoy the journey. Because if all we want is just the end result, and we want to wish away the journey, and we don't want to ever stop and smell the roses, then we're going to miss the most beautiful parts that make the journey what it is, that make the result what it is. So I want to talk to you last thing about how we can celebrate our wins and what that actually looks like. Because when I first thought about celebrating my wins, I was like, oh, if I ran a race, maybe we go out to ice cream after? I don't know. Like, what do I do to actually celebrate my wins? How do I recognize that? How do I honor that? And in saying, like, honor that, like, how do I show something respect? Maybe that's another rabbit hole to go down, is thinking about, how do you honor something? How do you cherish something? How do you take care of something? Lots of thoughts here that we could think about, but I wanted to share a few things with you to help you figure out how you can celebrate the wins in your own life, whether, again, that's through fitness, through business, through relationships, through anything that you're really after, anything that you're building. First, I want you to write down in your phone or on a paper 5 small victories that you've had recently, and share that with somebody this week. When they ask you, share one of those victories. If someone asks you how your week went, what did you do this week? Challenge yourself to share a victory. Like, this is something that I'm proud of this week. This is something that I did this week. Whether it is like a big thing or a small thing, as small as I set the goal to drink more water and I drank more water. Like, I'm proud of that, okay? Let's celebrate something that is a win to us. It does not have to be a win to other people. It doesn't have to be a grand win in somebody else's eyes. It has to be a win in our own eyes. And that's another thing too, is thinking about the private wins. Those private wins are powerful if you can actually acknowledge them. Thinking about moments where you had a hard conversation that nobody really knew was going to be a hard conversation for you. Maybe that was a tiny decision that you made. Maybe that was something small that you did. Maybe you picked up trash when nobody would have cared about that. Or maybe you had a conversation with somebody and it was really uplifting and really awesome, but nobody really knew about. What tiny decisions and actions and conversations are a private win for you that you are proud of? And you can keep that to yourself, but be proud of yourself for those private wins. I obviously ask my clients about their wins and what their progress was every single week. This helps them build momentum. This helps them recognize where they're going, what they've done, how far they've come, so that way they're not just too focused on where they're going, but they are also focused on right here today. This is what I've done. This is what I'm proud of. This is what I'm continuing to work on. By doing that and recognizing yourself for your wins, you're giving yourself those small hits of dopamine to tell you to keep going. And even if it wasn't perfect, you know what? You stacked another brick. You're stacking days. You're stacking effort. And if your 1% better effort today maybe is not the 1% better effort you wanted it to be. Maybe it's not that you are moving forward, but you are standing still and you are keeping your gaze focused on your goal. You haven't forgotten your goal. You haven't turned around. You haven't quit. Like, you can pivot 1,010,000 times, but you don't quit. And I think that is one of those attributes that we can all work on, is understanding that maybe a win is pivoting and changing careers. I remember that was a hard thing for me. I was in sales for a little over a year, and it was really hard for me to make a pivot back to health and fitness, because while I loved it, it wasn't me. It wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I wanted to build. Like, I could give you a million and 10 reasons why it is like the best thing ever, but I could also give you a million and 10 why it wasn't. And I think it really just comes down to you owning what your worth is, what you want to spend your time doing, what you want to spend your energy doing, the impact that you want to have on the world, and just own that. Okay, celebrate the fact that you are who you are, that you have the goals and the ideas and the dreams for a reason. And again, respecting that you want something different, respecting that you want more for your life. And I think if you can hold that respect and that trust within yourself, again, shifting from I can't do this, I can't pivot, I can't switch, I can't do something different. What are they going to think about me? If I can shift from I can't do that to maybe I can, maybe it's possible, let me play with the idea of how I'm going to do it, you're opening the door for magic. You're opening the door to momentum. You're opening the door for change. And that's what I want to do here, is sow the seeds of change in you and to help you grow as a person and to help you get better in all the ways that you want to get better, especially when it comes to your health and your fitness and your nutrition and your mindset. That is my bread and butter. That's what I love. I want to read to you a story actually from The Artist's Way. I've probably mentioned this book on the podcast before. It is life-changing, and I honestly want to recommend it to everybody that I talk to because it is just so good. There is a story in week 6 of the book called Recovering a Sense of Abundance, where they're talking about luxury, and I read it and I thought about this idea of celebrating wins. In this section of luxury, the author says, "What gives us true joy? That is the question to ask concerning luxury, and for each of us the answer is very different. So asking yourself, what is luxury? What is true joy? What does that feel like to you?" And she gives this example. For Bernice, the answer is raspberries, fresh raspberries. She laughs at how easily pleased she is by this. For a cost of a pint of raspberries, she buys herself an experience of abundance. And I remember sitting with myself thinking about that, on how you can buy that sense of abundance, that sense of joy, that sense of luxury through something so small as a pint of raspberries. I was like, yeah, you know what? Sometimes raspberries do feel like a luxury, like fresh raspberries that are just so delicious and amazing. That's a luxury, and that's something that you can celebrate every single day. Is maybe it's not like something big that you buy yourself, but a small pint of raspberries or whatever that actually looks like for you that makes you feel special. Now, I asked you earlier to write down 5 small victories that you had recently and to share that with somebody this week. I want you to remember that when somebody asks about your day, please share a win with them, and also put one in the comments. What is a win that you had this week that you are proud of? Small, big, whatever it might be. I'll share with you a win of mine, but I really want you to get practice sharing that, and just sharing that unapologetically, sharing a win that you don't have to worry about what other people are going to think. You don't have to be afraid of being seen. You don't have to be afraid of being targeted or seeing yourself as putting yourself above other people because you're sharing a win. You're just sharing a win, and let's get used to sharing those with other people. So comment your win below to share with you one of the wins that I've had, maybe 2. One was I recently finished making my website, which I didn't celebrate, and I should have probably celebrated because it was something that I wanted to do for, 3 years of having a coaching business. But that is something small, big, medium, whatever, that I feel like was a big project that I'm proud of. 1percenthealthier.co, like that is the home base for my coaching services. And I think that's awesome. That's something that I'm celebrating. And also this week I'm hosting a High Rocks meetup, which I'm also proud of. That's something small, but I really want to get more in-person community, and that is just the first step. When I thought about the idea, I was like, I don't know who is going to come. I'm a little bit nervous, but at the same time, like, this is what I want to do. And I'm just going to go out there, I'm going to try, and I put it out there on Instagram and TikTok, and I've talked to people about it in person, and I'm gathering people, and I'm showing myself that I can do this, and that I really want to do this. So those are my wins. Now put one of your wins in the comments down below. To wrap up this podcast, I want to share with you a quote from a general conference talk. But before I do that, I want you to know that if you are made for more and you want more for yourself, especially when it comes to your health and fitness, that you're in the right spot. This podcast is all about helping you develop your nutrition and your mindset and your fitness and your faith so that you can become the person that you know you're meant to become. So I hope you stick around for the podcast. If you've been enjoying it so far, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Make sure that you follow along on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube, so that way you guys can continue to stay tuned for all the episodes that are coming. And if you are ready to be more intentional with your nutrition, to step away from diets, the dieting mindset, and the all or nothing cycles that keep you stuck of saying that you're going to be better tomorrow and thinking about all these things that you want to be better at, but then never quite doing them, and you're decreasing your capacity to do them every time you just say you're going to be better, but then you're not better, you're falling in these all or nothing cycles. I want you to know if that is you and you're really wanting to be more intentional and you're wanting to get better and pursue more and make more progress, then 1% Healthier Coaching would be perfect for you. 1% Healthier Coaching will help you learn to understand how to feel your body, how to push yourself to be better, and how to celebrate the journey along the way. It is a beautiful process, and I love working with ambitious people that are just wanting more out of their lives and wanting to be healthier and get out of their own way. So if that resonates with you, in the description box below or at 1percenthealthier.co, you can find the application to work with me and book a free discovery call. And again, if this sounds aligned with you, make sure that you book a call soon so that you can take one of my 4 spots for one-on-one coaching coming in April. I would be honored to work with you, so make sure, again, you book that call and we can chat more about coaching details. Now, to wrap up this podcast, I'm going to share with you a quote from a general conference talk. It is called Personal Preparation to Meet the Savior by Elder Dale G. Renlund. And I remember when I heard this, it just hit me like a train. And I'm just going to read it to you here. It says, "One message of this parable is that God expects us to magnify the abilities that we have been given, but he does not want us to compare our abilities to those of others. Consider this insight provided by the 18th century Heidistic scholar Zusia of Anapol. Zusia was a renowned teacher who began to fear as he approached his death. His disciples asked, 'Master, why do you tremble? You've lived a good life. Surely God will grant you a great reward.' Zusia said, 'If God says to me, Zusia, why were you not another Moses? I will say, because you did not give me the greatness of soul that you gave Moses. And if I stand before God and he says, Zusia, why were you not another Solomon? I will say, because you didn't give me the wisdom of Solomon. But alas, what will I say if I stand before my Maker and he says, Zusia, why were you not Zusia? Why were you not the man I gave you the capacity to be? Ah, that is why I tremble.'" I really want you to think about that. Why were you not the person that I created you to be? Why were you not the person that I gave you capacity to be? By you celebrating your wins, you are celebrating all the things that make you you. You are giving yourself capacity for more. You are giving yourself the space to grow. You are trusting yourself. You're building confidence in yourself. So celebrate your wins, big and small. Make sure you comment them down below, write them down, share them with people, and I will see you in the next episode.